Hey, it's week 5 of our online class. It's July 3rd. It's our last class. Woo! Uh, we're going to take a look at our. This will be a short class. There's no quiz or anything that's going to follow this. So for those folks that are not here, it's just you may pick up some information that'll help you with your last 2 assignments. We're going to look at the final exam and the final project and do some Q&A and a little reflection. And I've added something else on here that I thought would be helpful is after everyone is finished and we're good to go, then I'll turn off the recorder, and if anyone has, I'll have office hours. Anybody has any questions, and we can take a look at things in more detail for individuals. So that's the plan. Okay, the final project got 40 points out of 100 that are due Thursday. You've got 25 points for your final project and 15 points on your essay. As we talked about it last week, and as you've no doubt seen in your classroom assignment, that it involves a lesson plan, a slide, and a quiz in Google Forms. The partial lesson plan is going to, I've got this set up so that you really don't have to you just have to fix anything from Sunday. You can just take as far as the lesson plan goes, you take the discussion question 4. It had TEKS and learning objectives, and you put them into your lesson plan, and then you make an assessment that aligns with that. And you don't even have to do a rubric for this. It's just those 3 basic things, and you do it in a Google Doc. Okay. There were several students had some challenges with learning objectives, and I thought I would go back over the expectations for this, what we're looking for. Your learning objective, some students took, your learning objective is what you expect the student to learn. Some of the students just copied the description of the TEKS and made that the learning objective. And that doesn't work, okay? It's not what you're going to teach, which is the TEKS, it's what you expect the students to learn, which is really kind of 2 different things. Your learning objective is concise. The more you can break it down into something relatively objective, the better. You should have once again, a part of your learning objective, you're asking the expectation, and that's the student will be able to do this. So in your learning objective, you'll have the statement, the student will be able to, and whatever it is. So this is one we have several students that are doing early learning, early childhood type classes. And so here's an example of an objective that one of them might have. The student will be able to write the capital letters of the alphabet in order. It's simple, it's straightforward, it doesn't, it says what they're going to do. They're going to write the capital letters in order. It doesn't have a bunch of other things, okay? Anything that you added to that, anything that you put above and beyond that might become a second learning objective. So you have to be careful. You have to be very clear on this. Okay, so your learning objectives, KISS. Becky, you know what that means? What does that mean?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Stupid, yes, stupid. The Marines might have had some little different word there, but we're used stupid. Isaiah just joined us. Good to see you, Isaiah.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
All right, go ahead and mute your mic, and we're in our first. We're talking about the final project.
Yes, sir.
You want to keep it simple, okay? Your lesson plan that you use in a class might have several objectives, but keep in mind what you're trying to do. All you're trying to do is do what the assignment that I'm giving you says for you to do. So don't give me 3 or 4 objectives or 5 objectives. For every objective that you give me, there's going to have to be an assessment. And for every objective you give me, there has to be something in your slide presentation that teaches it. So I would strongly recommend one objective and just do it real simple, because the more you put into this, the more I'm going to be looking for and the more work you're making for yourself. So keep it simple. Okay. Let me go back. Are there any questions on the learning objectives? Okay. The other part is the assessment. The assessment is aligned with the objective. In other words, once you've got a clear objective, then you're going to make an assessment. In other words, the assessment, once again, is how do you know the student's done what you said you wanted them to do? And it has 3 simple parts. What are the conditions that they have to have, that you're going to set up? What framework are they going to do this assessment? Is it going to be a online quiz? Is it going to be a worksheet? Is it going to be hands-on? Whatever it is, what are the conditions? Then the second part is the objective. So what are you trying? What are you grading them on? So you're going to rephrase the objective in that part of the assessment. And then what is your expectation of success? I was helping a student earlier this week, and for his assessment, he thought that 4 out of 10, 40% of what he was doing was acceptable, because he was doing something required a lot of hand-eye coordination. It would take a lot of work. So you do it right 4 times out of the possible 10, then you've done it correctly. Now, I believe the next slide here. So here's an example. So this is just an example, and it shows how the objective and the assessment will align. The student will be able to write the capital letters in the alphabet. All right. So then, what are the parameters? What are they going to do this in chalk on the board? Are they going to do it in chalk on the concrete? Are they going to say it aloud? Whatever. Well, they're going to do it on notebook paper. Then they're going to write the capital letters. And then the third part, what is my expectation? So 7 times out of 10, they'll get this correct, or 70% of the letters they'll get correct. So that's how the two, but you can see how they really align together. It's very simple. It's very clear what I want the student to learn and how I'm going to check and see if they've learned it or not. Okay, any questions on assessments so far? Okay. Now, the ideal versus the reality. Let me go back up and let's take a look at this. If for example, if Becky had this as her thing, then this is what I would expect. And I would expect a slide presentation that shows the students how to, what the letters are and what order they're in, stuff like that. I would expect that for the learning. And then I would expect then in reality, you give the student a sheet of paper and a pencil and you say, okay, kiddo, write the letters. But the reality for this project is that I want a quiz based on the slideshow. So this assessment that's here isn't necessarily going to match up with the assessment that you're turning in for the assignment, because my learning objective is, can you, the student will be able to create a quiz using Google Forms. That's what my assessment is of you. So that's what I have to do. So in this case, the two objectives, the first objective, the student at McMurry will be able to create a proper learning objective, and the student from McMurray will be able to create an assessment that's aligned with that objective. That's two objectives, learning objectives I have. Then my third one is doesn't connect with that, because I want you to do a quiz. I want you to create a quiz. Okay, so there's no paper pencil. You see how the two are gonna, there's a little disconnect. Okay, any questions about that? And I hope your classmates watch this video. Do you have a question, Becky?
I do. Okay, so using your example of, the assessment having them to be able to write the capital letters, how would you make that then into a Google quiz?
Well,
Like, what kind of questions would you have?
I would say that it's for example, it says in order for one thing. Okay, so I could have, I think there's probably a way that, and I don't know, but there's probably a way you could say, put these 4 letters, and the other part of this is on this quiz, you're not assuming that I'm a preschooler that can't read. Okay, so put these 4 letters in order would be one possibility. The other possibility might be a multiple choice. Select the letter that's not capitalized. Okay. Another possibility is multiple choices. You have 4 questions that have like 4 letters in order, and you have to choose which one of those 4 questions the letters are not in order. True, false. Z comes after Y. So, that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right. And you're not going to turn this in. You're not going to turn this in as an assignment. Okay. This is not part of what you're going to put into Google Classroom. You're going to assign it to me as Pepe Le Pew, and I'm going to take your test, because I'm going to have seen your slideshow, and then I'm going to take the test. So when you turn in, okay, I have to kind of think about this a minute. Let's take a look. I need to take a look at here. Let's see. All right, let's go to, all right, here's Pepe's, here's what you have as your final project, okay? So then I would open the assignment, and I would add from Google Drive, I'm going to add my slideshow. Okay. I don't have one in here. Let me see. I don't think I do. Test slides. Okay. So I've added my slides there. In create, I could create. Well, you can't do that there, but you could create you can create your slideshows there, but but you'd add your slideshows because you already had it done. So you add that there. That way see, now this is me as Pepe, as I'm the student Pepe, and this is going to go to me, Mr. Young. See, there's my class. So I'm adding it in there. So that's where I would add the slides. Okay. I would also go in here, and then I would I'd go into Drive, and let's pretend for our purposes that this is also my lesson plan. Well, here, let's see if I can, maybe I've got a lesson. Okay, let's say this is my lesson plan. Okay, so I've added my lesson plan. See now, see how it's stacking up down here? My lesson plan and my slides are all going to be down here as part of my work that's been done. And then the third part, the quiz, is you're going to go to your classroom, create the quiz, and assign me as a student, because Pepe should be a student in your classroom. So two things get added here, and then the quiz is going to be something you're going to make it as me as the student taking it. And then when I've got my lesson plan done, and when I've got my lesson plan done, and when I've got my slideshow done, I'm going to turn it in right here. Okay, so the slides are in, the lesson plan is in. I'm going to turn it in. Okay, so, and it comes up that I've done, but I still have to do the quiz. I still have to create the quiz, and I'm going to create that in I'm going to create that in the spot where where I'm your student, and you're going to create it and then assign it to me to do. You don't have to assign it. You don't have to assign it to anybody else. You can just assign it to me, or you sign it there. Don't just assign it to Pepe, not to Bill Young, but to Pepe. All right. Does that make sense? Okay, Isaiah, give me a thumbs up if you understand. Okay. I know I may have gone a little overboard on that, but I want to make sure that we've had some folks that have had questions about how to turn things in. Okay. Well, let me go back. Any questions? That's it on the project. Isaiah, anything that you missed earlier, we can talk about in the office hours after this meeting's over. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the final exam. It's worth 15 points. As I said, you have 40 points hanging out there between now and Thursday. It's a reflective essay. Go to look in Moodle. It's in topic 11. No, topic 12. It's topic 12. And that's where you would see that. Okay, let's take a look at some things. All right. Let's say this is for the sake of argument. I'm Pepe, and I have created this beautiful essay. Okay, and I've looked at Moodle. Let's go to Moodle. I think I've got Moodle open here. Let's see. Okay, assessment. Maybe not. Okay. I don't see it, but I'm going to trust that you can go to Moodle and you can see the topic. And I'm going to then I've written this beautiful thing. Can you read that? I mean, can you tell what it said? I mean, you can't read it because it's not in English. Okay, but you can tell what the letter. This kind of type is called lorem ipsum, and it's used as a space filler when people write paper. Well, if I'm going to show you insert the text here, they put lorem ipsum there so you can see what the font style and what it would look like. So it's a random, it looks kind of like Greek, Latin, but it's not. It's just random words. It's called lorem ipsum. So I've written this thing. Now, give me a thumbs up if y'all have read over the topic for the final exam. Okay, good. All right, so as you can see, it is kind of, y'all have probably, nope, that's not what I wanted. Pay attention, Mr. Young. All right, there it is. All right, so who can tell me how many words it has to be? Okay, Isaiah?
250.
All right, that's exactly right. Now, I'm not trying to play mind games with you. It doesn't have to be exactly 250. Plus or minus 10, let's say plus or minus 10, okay? I don't want a lot more than that because I don't want to read it, and I don't want less than, I want it pretty close to 250. But if you get in the ballpark, plus or minus 10, then you're good. So my question would be, give me a thumbs up if you know how to find out how many words I've got here. Okay, Isaiah, how do you do it? Do you know? If you can see the screen, walk me through it.
I think you go to, is it in format?
Becky, thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think? Think it'd be in format?
Or I think view. Go to, I think view. View that we did last time.
Tools.
Yeah, I think it's the tools.
That's
tools.
That's it.
All right, that was a trick question. That's why I'm showing you this, because you've never done this before.
I know we did it last week when I was on the phone with you when we had.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've learned something. Here it is. It's word count. Now, if I go word count and I click it, I've got 263. Whoa, no, that's too many. But wait. That counted everything, including the heading and the title. So I got to get it down. So I'm going to highlight what come on now, don't mess with me. Oh, don't do that. I'm going to highlight just what I need. And now I'm going to go back to Tools, Word Count. Now it's giving me oh, look at that, 250 of two. So that tells me exactly how many are highlighted. So I got it. Okay. And it's easier, Isaiah and I were talking about this the other day. Personally, I think it's easier to have too many words and then squeeze them down than it is trying to stretch them out. Okay. So that's how you check that word count. And then I don't have any particular, let's see, this is Arial 10.5. I'd really rather have something like a 12 font because of my eyeballs. I'd rather have something a little bit bigger. But since it's not so many pages, it's so many. I'm not telling you how many pages to do. I'm just telling you that it's got to be so many words. All right, so there's that. And also, Isaiah and I talked about it. You don't have to indent the paragraphs for me. Just put a space. I think if you do this in a standard format, every time you hit the enter key, it'll give you a space, and that's called block. That's called oh, see it's justified. So let me go do this. There we go. So that's left justified. And that's the way it should look, something like that. Okay. So are there any other tricks to this that you guys think you need to know, or if you've had a question about? All right. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. I have to have a citation. You have to have some kind of a citation. Becky's still looking, so Becky's probably looking at the instructions. Becky, do you have to have a citation?
I don't see it in the instructions.
There's not.
Yeah.
I'm not, once again, I'm looking for thought provoking. I'm looking for, it should be clear and it should be organized and all, but you don't have to have, if you have references, that's terrific. But, or if you quote something, you need to have them, but I'm not looking for anything like that. There's no expectation that you have to put it in to satisfy me. Okay. Any questions about the final exam? Okay. Tips and trick. Turn it in. That's it. Okay. All right. So we talked about the word count. Let's take a look at how to turn it in. It's similar to what we just did. Here's Pepe's assign. Here's Pepe again. He just turned these in. He celebrated with an adult beverage. Then he turned around and started working on his essay. He's got his essay all typed up, and he goes in here, and there it is. And once again, he's a student. He's you. He's not sending it to me via email. Your stream in Google Classroom should look like this. You should have that up in the corner. Okay, then you're going to click on Open. Okay, Files, Add or Create. So I could have created one, and you can do that. You can create it in here and then work on it in here. See, you could work on it in here, and then when you're done, mark it as done. Okay, so you can create it and use it. It'll hold your draft here until you're ready. But I did it outside of. I did this one not in the classroom. So I'm going to go in here. I'll look for there it is, and it's been added. There it is. It's been added to my assignment. See, I could have done it from here. I could have created a document. And there it is, right? See how it's, and that's kind of neat. I kind of like that. And it came up, final reflection. See it, and then I could have gone ipso facto, hocus pocus, this magic keyboard, make it long. See, and I could have been my, and then I typed my essay there, and then it would end up, it would have, I would have typed it. It would look back that in final, and now it's finished. And once it's all finished up, I just turn it in here. Okay, so I'm turning in 2. It actually I should have only turned in 1, but I'm turning in. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this because I want it to be right. You don't have to do this. I don't know why I'm bothering, but this is okay. We're going to make this look right. Okay, so I'm going to go Control A, which selects everything. Control C is copy. Okay. Now I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to close that. Okay, so this is when I created it. I'm kind of backing up here. So pretend that other stuff wasn't there. So my final reflective essay, I'm going to open it up. because that was created here in Google Docs. And I'm going to spend 7 or 8 hours because I really want this to be good. I want to impress my prof. And I typed this in, and I think, boy, that's going to get me an A for sure. And then I'm going to close it there. All of it's sitting right here, and I'm going to turn it in. And my essay's turned in. You don't have to email it to me. You're not copying it to me or anything like that. Okay, any questions about the essay? Okay. All right. Okay, so we talked about that. All right, so recap, we talked about the final project. It has a lesson plan with a TEKS, a learning objectives, and assessment. There's no rubric that's required for it. You want to keep it simple. The final project will have a quiz that is not the same as the assessment in the lesson plan, not necessarily. You turn the lesson plan into the classroom, you create the quiz, and then in your classroom where you're the teacher and you're sending it to Pepe Le Pew as the student. Then the final essay is 250 words plus or minus 10. You create it in the classroom. There's a word count tool that you'll have to go back and look at. I'm looking for 250 plus or minus 10. No works cited or or required unless you quote something. Then you'll need to cite it, but other than that, you don't need it. Are there any questions? Okay. Our reflection. This is part of your reflective essay. What makes technology and planning so important in education, and why?
Well, in planning, you have to always plan what you learn and teach before doing the objective. So I think that's why planning is another big thing in education, because you always have to take weeks to prepare to plan what you're going to teach. You can't just automatically teach the students without planning. So I think planning is a big step in education.
Okay. What about technology?
Technology is another big thing in education, because nowadays that's where all our work is done. Like, they have program websites for technology, and also you have like PowerPoint presentation, Microsoft Word to easily write and do essays and also presentations on that. So technology has changed in a lot of ways and helped education better, I think, for the most part.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Becky?
Yeah, I mean, the planning, obviously you have to do it, especially since, we have TEKS, we have certain objectives we have to accomplish. You're not going to do it if you're just kind of flying off the cuff every day. You have to have a plan as to what you're going to do. And the technology, I mean, that's just the reality of our world nowadays. I mean, you go to AISD and it's all smart boards and all that. And if you don't know how to incorporate that and show students how to use all that, you're way behind the power curve and you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Okay, and then those are some thoughts that actually that's part of your essay prompt. Okay. Well, we've reached the end of class. A la Kumba. If you have any questions, I'm going to stop recording now. And if you have any questions in the post-class office hours, I'll be here as long as you have your questions, and we can share things on the desktop and we can go into one-on-one. So if there's no further comments or questions from the class, are we good?
I actually has finished my PowerPoint presentation. If Becky wants to look on how how to do it from the last time when we had the meeting.
Okay. Y'all can set up a share. Let me go ahead and stop the record.